Thank you for being here, for showing up in whatever way is right for you today. I'm Nathan M. McTague, and this is Full-Time Grievers. This Minisode is for a very specific moment in grieving. That moment right after you get a text and your whole body says, I'm not dealing with this right now. You know what it's like. The message comes in. Maybe it's well-meaning, like, do you need anything? Or feeling any better? Or let me know if you want to talk. Maybe it's completely neutral, like, can you call me later? And for whatever reason, it just doesn't land well with you. Maybe your chest tightens up or your jaw sets. Maybe you immediately start drafting that sharp response. Or you might find yourself just staring at the screen and going blank. You don't want to answer, but you don't want to ignore it either. You're just stuck there, unsure how to respond and unable to marshal the wherewithal to navigate this pretty ordinary scenario. And like we talked about in episode 31, the invisible concussion, it's because our brain, particularly in acute grief, is operating with reduced executive bandwidth. Our attention, our memory, our communication skills, and our decision-making are all heavily impacted. So when our cognitive load is high, our nervous system can shift toward protection instead of openness, instead of engagement. And in that state, tone and intention can be misread. Ambiguity can feel threatening. And even neutrality can feel pointed. So we brace. And when we brace, the connection contracts. So before you reply or decide not to, I want to give you something to try. It only takes about 3 or 4 minutes, and it's designed to help your nervous system register safety. Not happiness or positivity per se, just a little less vigilance and a little less reactivity in your body. So, step 1 is focusing on your sternum and the back of your neck. You can place one flat hand on the center of your chest, right over your sternum, that hard bone in between all your ribs. You can place the other hand on the back of your neck where your skull meets the top of your spine. These 2 spots give you front body containment and back body support. They're also really rich in nerve endings that respond to gentle pressure, including pathways tied to the parasympathetic rest and digest branch of your nervous system, which is your primary brake for the stress response. So you're not meditating here. You're not trying to feel anything in particular. You're just giving your nervous system this direct communication that says, well, whatever's going on, we're okay right now. We're not under threat. And you might, like, as you do it, see if you can let your shoulders drop a bit, kind of soften as you hold that position. And you might try taking in a big full breath here and then really focusing on lengthening and slowing your exhale so it takes at least twice as long as your inhale, like this. And see if you can do that for 5 or 6 breaths. And stay here in this position at least 60 seconds. 90 seconds is even better, right? With that breath going, with this light touch going. Now, step 2 is about remembering a specific moment of kindness. So while keeping your hands where they are, or if this one gets tired, your shoulder gets tired, you can bring it down and put it on top of the other one. But while keeping your hands in place, I want to invite you to remember one specific moment when someone was kind to you. Not love in the abstract, but a particular moment. Like the way your brother looked at you when you nailed a joke, or your friend giving your shoulder a squeeze, or your partner or loved one handing you a cup of tea, or your pet coming to snuggle up with you. Where were you? What did their face look like? What was that simple gesture that landed as kind to you? And then see if you can stay with that vision, remembering that memory, for another 60 seconds. Again, we're not looking for some huge effect. We're just letting this subtle strategy do its work. Especially combined with step one, it's going to have a powerful effect, because when you activate a memory of safe connection and you really sit with it, especially combined with some light touch like this, then your brain releases oxytocin. And when oxytocin levels increase, then defensive bracing decreases. Not instantly or dramatically, but enough to change how you read the next thing on your screen. That's step two. Step three is just to add a little warmth. If you have a warm drink nearby, you can wrap both hands around it and bring it toward your chest. Or you can grab a blanket or another top layer for your torso in particular. Warmth itself is a primal safety cue. It's one of the first things that signals safety to a nervous system. If you don't have anything on hand that will help raise your temperature without raising your heart rate, like you could jump up and do some exercise, but that'll raise your heart rate. We're talking about something that'll raise your temperature without raising your heart rate. If you don't have anything that'll do that, you can just imagine like a little ball of warmth or an ember or a sun, a star in your chest beginning to radiate warmth. Imagine it spreading from your sternum outward, down your torso, up your neck, into your face, down your arms, down your legs. Even just imagining that warmth can foster some of the effect that we're looking for here. And again, you want to stay here for 30 to 60 seconds, so it really has a chance to communicate safety to your nervous system. Now, that's just 3 or 4 minutes total, but it's enough to shift your physiology slightly before you consider responding to the text you just got. Now, after this quick practice, and before you type anything, you can ask yourself, number one, do I need to respond right now? Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. And if you don't, then giving yourself that time is another kindness to your nervous system, but also something that us grievers can use, a little bit of time before I respond. So do I need to respond right now is the first question after that practice. You sit with yourself, give yourself a real answer. Either way, the second question is, what would I say if I weren't braced? What would I say if I weren't braced? Now, that's not necessarily what you're going to send, but both this question, do I need to respond right now, and what would I say if I weren't braced, can help orient you to what is right for you to say right now. And if you still don't have clarity, that's okay. Here are some short responses that can buy you some time without burning any bridges. So to literally just buy yourself a little bit more time, you could text back, hey, I saw this, I'll get back to you soon. Or thanks for reaching out. I need a little time, but I appreciate you. Or I'm moving slower right now, but I'll respond when I can. Right? Just to buy yourself a little bit more time before you respond with whatever is going to be your next response. If instead you actually want to say no, or you want to set a little gentle boundary, you could text something like, I'm not up for a call, or I'm not up for messaging right now, but I sure appreciate you thinking of me. Or I don't have capacity for that today, or I don't have capacity for messaging today, or I don't have capacity for communication today, right? Just calling it like it is. Or just, I'm keeping things really simple this week. On the other hand, you don't need to buy yourself more time necessarily before you respond, and you don't need to set a gentle boundary or say no. You maybe want to express interest, but without committing right now. You could text back something like, I'd love to connect. Can we plan for later this week or tomorrow? Or not today or not right now, but yes, soon. Or I want to talk about this, just not right now, or just not tonight, or I can't do it at this moment, right? All of those show that you're interested, but they also say, but not right now. And none of these require you to explain your grief, which is, I think, another kindness for us grievers. We're often explaining, or having to explain, or having to tell the story again and again and again. This is one moment where you don't necessarily have to do that. It doesn't require you to explain your grief. And none of these answers require emotional labor that you don't have, right? There's sort of like a simple, either buy myself some time, set a gentle boundary, or say yes, but not right now, or express interest, but no commitment. If the reply that you get from your response sends you right back into that braced state, then you can repeat the process. Steps 1, 2, 3 again. Hand on sternum, hand on the back of your neck, longer exhales, that memory of kindness that was afforded you, and some warmth. And you don't have to do the full 4 minutes every time either. Even 60 to 90 seconds can interrupt activation, especially if you've done it once or twice already in the course of the day or in the last 10 minutes. And you can return to this practice or this set of practices as many times as you need to in the course of a day or in the course of 10 minutes of trying to figure out, what do I do with this text? In acute grief, especially if we're suffering from that invisible concussion taxing our executive functionality, it makes sense that connection could get complicated. When we're already running low on cognitive and emotional resources, even a neutral text can feel like a demand that we can't meet. You know this, but grief asks a lot of us and a lot of our relationships. Keeping those relationships isn't always graceful or easy. Sometimes it's just not burning any bridges today. And that's enough. You don't have to respond perfectly. You just want to be able to respond more authentically. And you're allowed to take the time that you need for that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please be gentle with yourself. Thank you for being here and for grieving in the ways that are right for you. If this episode met you where you are, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. You'll find our free grief journal and the grief confessional link below. I'm Nathan M. McTague, and this is Full-Time Grievers.